Hey guys, welcome to Power Within with me, Amy, your heart whisperer therapist. I'm a good wife.
Vicky, I'm the queen of rapid hypnosis.
Together with the Eastwoods, and we're going to be covering therapy,
Hypnotherapy,
couples relationship therapy,
hypnosis, and all the other shit in between.
If it's current, if it's relevant,
we'll be covering it. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to Power Within. Today our topic's going to be about red flags, green flags, any other flags, and online dating.
Yeah, and touching again on self-esteem and how much online dating has the ability, if you're in that world, how much it has the ability to bring you back down. We're going to share some of our, not personal experiences, because thankfully we've never done online dating. I've never done any version of online dating. Would gaydar girls class as online dating back then?
Possibly.
MSN?
A few little messages here and there.
So you, being older, she's experienced a little bit of that. But thankfully, we've not had to navigate through bloody Tinder and Hinge and all the apps out there. And Googling it, even this morning, 16% of the UK are on dating apps. 80% of that 16% are men. Mm-hmm. And the criteria that they look for is awful. You know what I mean? So minimalistic. And it got me thinking, if we were on dating apps today,
would we have met?
We wouldn't have met. No. We would have scrolled off each other, like 100% truth.
That's because people go on looks. And I think either one of us has ever gone on our looks. And thankfully for me.
And I love you and think you're beautiful, but you live 90 miles apart, would have been a swipe. You had 5 cats and a dog, probably would have been a swipe.
I thought that would have been a tick.
8 years difference, 8 years age difference. If we're going on superficial stuff, that would have been a swipe. You didn't want to get married, not such a swipe. You never wanted to live with anyone again.
Because people ruin you. That's the problem. And I think that's it with relationships. You always go on the past relationships and never really think about the relationships, who you could potentially meet in the future. Or even in that one particular moment, you're thinking you're never going to meet anybody again, because that's what one of my other friends said the other day. I'm never going to meet anybody again. I think this is my world. It's ended, because she can't find anybody online. She can't find anybody out there. And I think because we're older as well, we don't go out to the gay clubs or even any bars or to meet anybody. And 9 times out of 10, when we do go out, me and my other friend, everyone thinks that we're together. You have to say we are
so
not
you're
together.
Her block. But yeah, like you wouldn't have swiped on me. But we had a conversation before this earlier, and thankfully we met in Gran Canaria where there was no swiping about it.
But even back then, we didn't actually like each other like we should have liked each other. So it wasn't never an instant like, she's beautiful or I really want to be with her. Obviously, you are beautiful and I do want to be with you, but it's just that was never my initial thing. Maybe because I wasn't actually looking for somebody at a particular time, and neither was you.
Yeah, and I'm not offended by that. I think the gist of sharing it, because we're not dating advisors, we're not specialists, we don't know how the world works. Just something that comes up for us, especially in our bar with our staff more than anything, is red flags. It's just how brutal the dating world is. That's the idea of today, is can you take a little bit from it and go, maybe I should take the red flags as a little bit of a sign. Because what I find, especially in our therapy work, is people that are scarred through previous experiences or learnt behaviours from family, and we'll touch on this a little bit in a minute, it's almost like they're blinded to the red flags because they want to almost be able to be the person to remove them.
And fix them.
Yeah. And if they fix them, if they remove their red flags, then in return, they're going to be loved.
And get a better version of that person, what they think is their one. And sometimes it never actually comes across that way. And I think there's a lot of, because of all the stigma around red flags, green flags, you're putting people in categories where I think people should just learn to love that one person. But what happens in this day and age is that you have got this criteria of red flags, you've got a criteria of green flags, and I don't know what the other mix in between is. But again, when you read the red flags, there is part of people, probably everyone wants a part of that red flag.
Mm.
And there's not many people what on the green flag side what does support you or want to be with you or wants to congratulate your wins. What they tend to do is the people are sometimes in that jealous rage where they don't want that one to succeed because they want to be the person succeeding.
Mm.
You know, and people who's dating online, they don't see the vulnerability in themselves as well.
Yeah, and I remember one of my clients last year, and again, she's got low self-esteem. I don't work with her anymore. She was doing well, but her self-esteem was often sort of scored based on men and attention. And in her world, if somebody gifted her a date, and one of the things that she was governed by of her needs was time, if they gifted her a date, her way of repaying them was with her body. And so she would sleep with them thinking, I'm going to get a second date, I'm going to get that third date. And 90% of the time, that second date didn't come. And she was left feeling shitty because she'd give the only thing she knows what to give, and that was her body. So she valued them giving her the time. You know, and we've done some work around core values, and something maybe we'll put a link in because of incredible cards, especially for our therapy work. But it allows you to go back to what your core beliefs are, your core values. And so hers was time. She will give you money, her body, her time. All she really requested was time. So she didn't care. Red flags didn't matter in her equation because they're giving her the time. And that's where the work had to carry on growing, but she moved away. So I hope she carried on doing that work. The red flags were irrelevant. So some of you might be in a relationship or might be dating, and the red flags are literally swinging fierce. You don't want to see them. You don't want to see them because you need the relationship more. And I think that's the hard thing to navigate around, but it comes into their self-esteem.
Yeah, it comes into the self-esteem, but also people want that chase. They want to see if they could fix someone. They want to see if they could make that person a better person.
Mm.
And I think that's where the red flags come in, where they'll chase them, but the other person doesn't chase them back, or they dictate to what they're doing. So instead of them chasing, they'll say, "Well, what are you phoning him for? Why are you texting him?" And then so that person then becomes isolated, where the only person they're gravitating to is that one red flag, really, and they never have like an in between. So then, because that person's then isolated from family and friends, that's the only person they're turning to, and he or she dictates to that, and then you get scared. They get scared of that person finding anything out. So that's when things start getting a little bit more in depth with like deleting messages, being scared, being vulnerable. But your vulnerability is becoming because of them.
Yeah, and we were talking, wasn't we, about one of my clients. And again, everything we share is because somebody's agreed to it. Minus my one family member who's clearly not happy that we've shared some of our truths. But this client, she started off as an adult and she had a good relationship. She was very well looked after. She was equal in that relationship. She was stable. It was almost too calm for her.
Mm.
She did everything to push the boundaries, to push him away. And I don't think in the next 20 years after that, she's ever had a good one.
Mm.
I think she's been on the chase of, if I fix them, then I'm loved. If I fix them, then I'm fixed. And that has been her go-to every time. The odd time she's had a good relationship pop up or a potential, her self-esteem's that low that she's not worthy of it.
Mm.
And I think the green flags will wave in her face. She doesn't see that. She doesn't see that that's what she deserves because she's always settled for red.
Because they're too good. It's like they're too calm.
Mm.
They're too stable. The green flags where she likes that chase. She likes that where if she does get a slap every now and again, that's all. That's okay. And I think if it's the same client, did she then turn to? She went from men to women.
Because in her world, women, I think probably because she sees us and we are respectful to each other and we are mutual and grounded. But this isn't a given either. Just because we're women, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily plain sailing. For her, that's what she saw. So she gravitated towards this female. And what did she say? Well, she didn't slap me. She only pulled me in. She only pulled my hair.
Dragged me down
the stairs. And I'm screaming inside, infuriated for her. But in her world, that was better than the slap she used to get off the guys, or the kicking, or the cheating, or whatever it being. That was a tamer version. So in her world, that's okay. And I think the idea of today is about what are we willing to accept? And when we go back to them core value cards, and I share one of my other clients, one of her core values was feeling safe. She wanted to feel loved. That was it really, which is minimal standards, I think. She had creativity in her core beliefs. She had love. She had safety. And I said to her, and this is a value for anyone out there that is navigating dating. And I actually thought yesterday in the car, maybe one day we go live with this and go, right, we're doing therapy live for an hour, calling. The new Richard and Judy sort of thing. that was yesterday. But I said to her, treat it like an interview. One day she's going to be dating. Ask yourself, what does it cost? If it costs one of your 5 core values, are you willing to let go? And she could only see it, and most people will see it, going to the shop and I ask you to get milk. I don't specify what milk, I want milk. And so you pick whatever milk you want. But maybe I'm lactose intolerant and I didn't describe that. Am I willing to be poorly to settle for the milk that you brought me? Or am I going to use my needs to be a little bit higher? And when Vic reads some of the red flags in a minute, you have to go back to your well-being. So relationships should make you better, should make you stronger, you should be equal. What are you willing to sacrifice for the version of love? I'm talking milk, but that version of milk, it does the same job. For her, she would have sacrificed anything just to feel loved. She did sacrifice everything. Safety, her well-being, addiction. She would give all of that just to feel love, which is sad. And I sit here feeling blessed because I know you love me unconditionally through all my stupidity to the end. Sadly, when we're navigating the dating apps and stuff, it's not that easy out there.
No, because everyone goes on looks. And that's what dating apps are there for, is like to see someone. And yeah, you might have a little bit of a criteria, what they like, what they don't like. But sometimes they might actually put that on there just to gravitate you in. And then when really you do meet them, it's a bit like filters. Filters, you can put a filter on to make you look prettier, to make you look better, make you look a bit more fresh. And when you do finally meet them, it's not that person. And that's exactly the same as the personality side as well. And I think with the personality, that's what gravitates me more, because looks has never been a huge thing for me. As pretty as you are, and everyone does fancy her, which is great. But looks has never been the be all and end all. It's like it's kind of it's people's mannerisms, how they look, how they move, how they smile. And again, you know, we've just been watching The Orphan Black, where they've got 7 different characters. That same character looks the same, but has different mannerisms in each one. But you could go, she's pretty in that one, or she's really nice in that one. And I could think, well, she's actually really nice in that one. She's psychopath in the other one. But that's the thing, you can have like one person, the exact same person, with 7 or 8 different kinds of personalities, but there's only that one personality, what you actually like.
Yeah, because one of our staff last night said it, and maybe you've seen it, you've not seen it. This actress, she's incredible. But she does play 7 or 8 different characters. And it's a a valid point in here that, yes, she's probably more attractive depending what part she plays.
Yeah.
And that posh one, again, depending what you want, that posh one for me is so horrible. And yet she's probably the most prim and proper one.
Mm-hmm.
Clean cut, powerful. Actually, arrogance makes her so horrible that I can't wait for her to be out of this program. True.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when I was saying we would have swiped off each other, I'm glad we didn't have to go through dating apps. Because ultimately, them 5 cats and dog become mine. You moved to Birmingham, which was only a small criteria. We did get married. We did go on to have kids. But more importantly, and you'll get embarrassed by this, but you made me a nicer person. You made me see kindness in acts that I probably wouldn't have done. You probably grounded me more than I was ever. You keep me sane in our world of chaos, and you probably make me a more empathetic person just by being in your presence.
Mm.
So there's no online dating app that would have allowed for any of that criteria. I would have gone, lives in Sheffield, 90 miles, no thank you, 5 cats, crazy, doesn't want to move out, which wasn't a given. I might have moved to Sheffield, but we would have swiped off each other.
But that's where I'm more realistic, where I did say, well, you had a permanent job in Birmingham, although I had a house paid for in Sheffield, or a mortgage on a house, and you was renting in Birmingham. But again, I moved here because you had a permanent job and I had a driving school, and I could have just moved. I just said I'll move here, because it's about negotiating with each other, instead of just saying, well, like that person, I'm not doing that for you. All the things what I said I wouldn't do, I did. I did get married. We have got 2 children. It's all the bits in between, because I found the right one, and that, like, money can't really buy, and neither can any app find that. But some people have been successful on dating apps. People have found that person, which is really nice, because, again, if people have social anxiety and they don't want to go out, people can go onto these dating apps and find someone on there what probably suits their needs. So it's not like they're not there for a good purpose. They are there for a good purpose, but sometimes, again, like anything in life, people do manipulate it, and people do take advantage of something what's good.
Yeah, and that, we'll read this text out about red flags, and I'm sure we're not teaching each and every one of you what a red flag is, but there's parts of the wording in here that you can go, okay, maybe I do deserve a little bit more. Maybe I need a few more green flags in my life. And what it says, red flags in a relationship are warning signs of potential or existing unhealthy relationship dynamics. They can manifest in controlling behaviour, emotional manipulation, abuse, or a lack of communication. Recognising these red flags is crucial for maintaining a healthy and fulfilling relationship. And although you go into a relationship with 2, so your well-being is important to me. But if you've got red flags, that will take from my well-being. And it's how much I'm willing to say I don't matter to how much I would accept it. And some people, as we know, accept a hell of a lot.
They do. But again, sometimes, like I said before, I did have one friend the other day what said to me, yeah, but green flags are boring. and I get that people are who have got like a normal version are boring, but I think everybody has got a little bit of a red flag in them. A bit like when people call people narcissists, that's like thrown out there way too much. But when you were doing your course and you read the script of narcissists, you know yourself, you've got tendencies, and even I've got tendencies, and that's me being quite nice and out there. So like everybody's got tendencies of all these things what in this day and age get thrown out there quite often. And I think sometimes people might have like a little bit of a red flag, but then it might actually be okay. And again, like one other client, she said, like everybody has a past. So this guy told her everything what's been going off, not everything, but all his bad bits with a bit of fluff around it.
Mm.
So he's changed, he's not that person. And she's fell for it, but now she's chasing to try to fix him, probably 3-4 years on, 5 years on, 3 kids in tow, and still he's never changed. So all these promises and all these, yeah, everyone's got a past, I get that. But when they have got a past, sometimes take a little bit from it or be slightly aware. Otherwise, it can creep back in, because as much as we all try to change, and we do sometimes change for the good, people are not always that willing to change, or they'll tell you what they want you to hear. And that's what people have to sometimes to be careful of.
Yeah, and to see it, because how many of you have got in a relationship and they'll tell you a little bit about your past and they'll say, yeah, my ex is crazy. Listen, if you've spent 4 or 5 years with somebody, you're probably the reason why they're a little bit crazy. You can't put it on the other person.
No.
You know what I mean? Okay, Vic's crazy. Well, probably because I've made it crazy. My behaviour or something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Okay. The moment you start Googling someone's behaviour in order to understand them is probably the biggest red flag you'll ever need.
And we have a load of clients.
Absolutely loads of clients.
Going back to narcissism, one of my clients messaged me the other day, do you think he's a narcissist? And just type some of his behaviour. I'm like, ignore the word narcissist, because like you say, it gets thrown out every other day. Somebody does one thing, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist. And so I said to her, ignore that word, just look at what's going on and understand his behaviour. And you're right, when I was studying that session, I went into uni and said to my tutor, I actually felt like some of that was me. Am I a narcissist? And she says, no, Amy, you are not. And I'm thinking, okay, I've had validation from my tutor that I'm not.
Never asked the wife though.
But on text, I filled some of that criteria. I was, maybe we all
carry some tendencies of red flags, green flags, and narcissists. There, you read that.
And this is it. This is what this quote says. Everybody has some red flag behaviours, because we've all been hurt at some point in the past, or we've all had some learnt experiences from our parents, our friends. You know what I mean? We'll all take from that. Nevertheless, notice those who are committed to learning and growing, and those who are okay with blaming everyone else. Some take responsibility and remain accountable, which is where the red flag will become a green, while others believe that they're fine the way they are, and so they will want the partner to change. I'm giving you all these red flags. Well, you've just got to accept it. You've got to accept it because you love me. No, false. That's the biggest thing, is you're allowed to step out and say, actually, I don't want your red flags anymore. And I feel like we're a common theme of telling people to say get lost, or I don't want this anymore, I don't want that anymore. Most of our therapy clients come because they feel stuck and they don't know where to go. As couples therapy, hopefully they would both sit there. The narcissist or the red flag carrier would go, okay, I learn that this is me. How can I move forward?
In an ideal world. Not always an ideal world.
No, but again, us waffling on here about red flags is for somebody to sit there on a Sunday afternoon and go, okay, they make a little bit of sense. That's me. Maybe I put up with too much. Maybe my boundaries are too low. Maybe my self-esteem could do with some work.
Yeah. But another quote is, when all you know is fight or flight, red flags and butterflies feel all the same, which is a really good quote.
It is, and it's scary, because I think people, when we go back to anxiety, that high alert state, that fight or flight, ready to go. I go back to that girl who went from men to women. Getting kicked in the face, it makes me feel sick even now, but getting kicked in the face was, okay, yeah, he said he's sorry, we made up. You know what I mean? That behaviour that she's tolerated for so long is that fight or flight mode. Yes, she's got an edge, and yes, she can retaliate, but she would have woke up scared. She would have gone to bed scared. And the only way she knew how to move out of that was, okay, well, maybe women might be a little bit nicer. And she finds the one out of fucking 20 million. Let's go to that one gay woman. And they had an okay relationship by all accounts. But when things got heated, they didn't just get heated and we'd argue and then would say sorry. She gets pulled down the stairs by her hair. And she says it like it's water off a duck's back. And I'm thinking, why am I infuriated for the behaviour that you're willing to accept? But she's got to do so much work on her and her self-worth. So one day she'll look back and go, I won't accept anything less than this version of me now.
Yeah, but that even yesterday, late last night when we was in the club, an old customer came in with a guy. She got pregnant with a guy who was an absolute lunatic, and then she walked in with the similar kind of character. And you're like, why do they never learn? Why do these people never ever learn? Because when she can do so much better. She is very pretty. She is very beautiful. But yeah, and it's like she's walking in with baggage again. And that will never change. And I think throughout her life, she'll always continue having this kind of baggage because she never seems to understand better.
And I think her words were, I make the same mistake. And it's not a mistake. Someone out there watching this, it's not a mistake. It's learnt behaviour. Usually, and we go back to that one friend who's got 3 kids, she grew up in that environment. She grew up where her mum kept trying to fix the dad. He would leave, he would cheat, he would beat her up. She loved him unconditionally. She just kept trying to fix him. Fast forward 20 years, this said girl now with 3 kids, that's how she's programmed to relationship. That's her love language. I'm just going to fix him. I'm going to keep fixing him regardless of what it takes from me. And the girl last night, she said, I keep making the same mistake. She doesn't. That's her learnt behaviour. The magic thing is your learnt behaviour can be unlearnt once you recognise it, once you step back and say, I want different. And that's the biggest thing. And I'm not saying this because we want client work. We don't. We don't want hypnotherapy work. But it changes people's lives. It changes behaviours. It changes self-esteem. Is that girl last night ever going to step away and decide she wants more? I don't know. But her mum can't look at her and say, you keep making the same mistake, because she won't like to hear it. But the mum is the teacher as why she's the way she is. And it's awful because parents won't want to know that they've harmed their kids the way they do, because that isn't the intention. But your girl with 3 kids, she learnt that from her mum. She learnt that now from her dad, who continues to take and manipulate.
But again, the other person, he ended up getting sent to prison. For like a serious offence on the lady. Obviously, I can't disclose that, but
and that's the only way they broke away.
Yeah, is because and now she feels free. She feels better. She feels like she's not getting controlled every single day. But yeah, it's a massive, massive blow. But although she was upset about the fact that he got sent to prison for what he did to her, she's still holding on to the guilt, because even the phone calls is still manipulating her a little bit, even from prison. So it's mental how even when somebody's not even around you day to day, they're still dictating from so far away. And it is hard, but she has to learn to break away. But I'm not going to continue. I can't continue telling her to do that, because she has to learn. She has to learn to do that. And I think even on the hypnotherapy side, people started to recognise what we do, because although we've been doing it for so many years, like now, people's like sort of messaged and even seen stuff from like New York and like even other night in the bar. I think I had to like hypnotise about 4 people, and I'm like, I'm done now.
It's become a bit of a show in the club.
Yeah.
But like last night, you did Tez. Tez, He's our
he'll come on
massive
at some
advocate,
point.
and he's seen it from a distance, and he believes us. He knows it's not bullshit behind the scenes. And you played about in the bar a few months back with him. He's flying today, and last night he says, again, his fear. He'll drink 10 drinks before he gets on the flight to settle his nerves, but he used to love flying. And I said, Tez, let her do what hypnotherapy is really designed to do. 3-4 minutes. Honestly, he's skipping today. He can't wait to be at the airport. I texted his wife. I said, look, just in case he seems a bit weird tomorrow, Vic's done some hypnotherapy on him. He cannot wait to get on that flight. And I think you've took him back to the days when he used to go to Dublin as a kid, because he was so excited when he talked about them moments, that you've been able to let go of that one flight that's harmed him for, 8-9 years?
Because he thought it was about to die on that flight. He says, I've
Yeah.
never been scared that much. But that flight really, really knocked him. And then ever since then, he's never wanted to fly. But then he has been able to fly, but he gets absolutely so drunk before the flight. And when the cot comes out, he's 4 or 5 gins in. And but it's not always about giving them positive suggestibility to them. It is about trying to minimise that flight and make it feel like it, not that it never happened, but like it was just a film what he watched, just a movie what it was just. It's just faded out and it's become irrelevant to him, really.
Oh, he was class.
And then last night he's like, what? I can't wait. And now he feels like that was just a bit like a bad dream. And every other flight is going to be fantastic, and he will just continue to thrive.
And he was class, and I'm proud that you have the ability within 3-4 minutes. Again, the environment's not ideal, but you're gifting something back. He will have an incredible flight today. We're going to end because I've got a session anyway. But yeah, if you're in a relationship with red flags, I'm not saying we're the relationship experts or we've got it all figured out. But this podcast, we will continue to record whilst people continue to listen. And if you've got a question, if you've got answers, you might teach us. I will continue to say this podcast is for you. So message in.
Anyway, for now, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Be safe.